Hey everybody, and welcome to BingeBot. We recap all the latest and greatest TV to help keep you in the loop. Today we're getting into another outing with the killer with a code, Dexter Morgan, as we recap Dexter Resurrection Season 1. This new show follows Dexter as he heads to New York City to track down his son Harrison, but soon discovers something dark under the surface, pulling him back into his old ways. With that said, let's just jump right into the recap, starting with Episode 1, A Beating Heart. During a 10-week-long coma, one of the world's most prolific serial killers, Dexter Morgan, finds his mind being visited by ghosts from his past, and conversing with them, he realizes that although his involvement in innocent people's lives has often done more harm than good, his son Harrison will be left adrift without some form of guidance. Having fled the quiet town of Iron Lake, Harrison manages to secure a job at the Empire Hotel in New York City. Though he is popular among his coworkers and the hotel customers, he is still haunted by the mayhem that he witnessed in Iron Lake, which ultimately culminated in him shooting his father in the chest because he believed Dexter had hurt too many innocent people. One night, a prized customer of the Empire Hotel named Ryan Foster drugs a young woman and asks Harrison to help take her to his room, falsely claiming that the girl is his drunk wife. Unable to let such a heinous act occur, though, Harrison attacks Ryan and after a violent struggle, manages to kill him. Panicked, Harrison relies on Dexter's teaching and gets rid of the body by sawing it into pieces and throwing it away with the rest of the hotel garbage. Unfortunately, it is discovered the next morning by the city's sanitation department, and the police are alerted. Waking up from his coma, Dexter begins to work on his rehabilitation. A few days into his recovery, Dexter is visited by an old colleague, Angel Batista of the Miami Metro Police Department. As the pair catch up on old times, Dexter quickly realizes through their conversation that Batista correctly suspects him of being the infamous Bay Harbor Butcher of Miami.
It's just this one thing I can't seem to let go of. Maria Lagueta. Maria told me, in confidence, that she was certain that you were the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Now doubly determined to leave Iron Lake as soon as possible, Dexter learns from a nurse that a body linked to the Empire Hotel had been found chopped into 9 pieces, exactly how he taught Harrison. And having deduced his son's location, Dexter sneaks out of the hospital and makes his way to New York City. Episode 2, Camera Shy. Sneaking into the Empire Hotel, Dexter investigates the crime scene and helps clean up some evidence that Harrison left behind. And having done so, he leaves, not sure how his son would react if he saw him still breathing. While in the cab of a rideshare driver named Blessing Kamara, he learns of a serial killer dubbed the Dark Passenger, who targets rideshare drivers in New York. As a serial killer who exclusively targets other killers, Dexter is unable to ignore such juicy prey and decides to become a driver in hopes of running into the Dark Passenger. After building rapport with a bunch of other drivers, Dexter manages to find one who survived a Dark Passenger attack, and by analyzing his car's camera feed, Dexter's able to identify the company that the Dark Passenger works at. Though classified as a potential suspect for Ryan's murder, Harrison manages to stay relatively clear of major police suspicion thanks to the thorough job that he did hiding his tracks, alongside the assistance from his dad. However, his mental health deteriorates as he is haunted by visions of a mutilated Ryan. Episode 3, Backseat Driver. Following an exhaustive investigation, Dexter finally manages to nail down the identity of the Dark Passenger, whose real name is Ronald Schmidt. Loitering outside of Schmidt's place of work, Dexter eventually entices him into entering his cab, and though the Dark Passenger tries to attack, Dexter is able to turn the tables on him by injecting him with a sedative. When Schmidt wakes up, the first thing he asks comes as a surprise to the Bay Harbor Butcher. Schmidt reveals that a mysterious person broke into his apartment some days ago and left a letter along with a box full of cash, and questions if that person was Dexter.
Are you him?
Who?
The guy who broke into my apartment and left the invitation with all my trophies.
What invitation?
I haven't spent any of the money. You can have it all back. It's in my backpack.
Puzzled but intrigued, Dexter murders Schmidt and then rummages through his belongings, eventually finding the letter. A quick read reveals it to be an unusual invitation, a chance to have a dinner party with other serial killers. Episode 4, Call Me Red. Pretending to be Schmidt, Dexter follows the letter's instructions, and he ends up at a penthouse of the famous billionaire venture capitalist Leon Prater. A serial killer fanboy, Prater has for years been holding gatherings for serial killers. There, Dexter is introduced to Mia, Lowell, Garth, and Al, and during an exquisitely prepared fancy dinner, Lowell excitedly tells the group that he's selected his next victim.
It's coming. Jewel still has a few sessions to go. Great art takes time. But I promise, before I leave this town, she will be mine.
This puts Lowell on top of Dexter's list, and the next day he arranges a private meeting with the man. After learning how and where Lowell plans to commit the murder, Dexter manages to intercept it, knocking out Lowell before discreetly murdering him. Meanwhile, Batista shows up in New York, hot on Dexter's tail, and discovering who Harrison is and finding out about the details of the murder committed at the Empire, Batista begins to suspect that Harrison is following in Dexter's footprints. Confronting the kid, Batista tries to get him to come clean, stating that even though Dexter tried to kill bad people, many innocents died because of his actions, and though rattled, Harrison tells Batista that he is mistaken about his suspicion and leaves. The next day, however, Batista's words continue to ring in Harrison's ears, and he ends up outside of a police station. But just as he is about to enter, hoping to confess his crimes, Dexter grabs him by the shoulder. Episode 5. Murder Horny. Shocked at seeing his father still alive, Harrison starts to panic, but Dexter guides him away from the police station, promising to answer all of his questions. Taken to his dad's temporary home in New York City, Harrison learns how the Empire murder helped Dexter track him down, and blaming him, Harrison states that if it weren't for Dexter teaching him how to kill, he might have called security or just intervened in another way. He confesses that, unlike Dexter, he feels an incredible amount of guilt despite his victim's horrible nature, and caught off guard by the revelation that his son is so different from him, Dexter is unable to stop Harrison as he angrily storms away. Feeling alone, Dexter calls Mia, the only killer in Prater's group that Dexter took a liking to because of her reputation for exclusively murdering predators. Their impromptu date comes crashing to a halt, however, when Mia reveals that she is fine with any victim, even an innocent one.
The media still labeled most of them predators. But the truth is, I'm the predator.
So, planting some evidence in her apartment that links her to Ryan's murder, Dexter waits for the opportune moment and has Mia arrested. The next day, upon seeing the news, Harrison goes to meet his dad, and confirming his involvement, Dexter states that Harrison is his only reason for living. And softening up, Harrison reaches out his hand to grab Dexter's. Episode 6. Cats and Mouse. With Lowell's disappearance and Mia's arrest causing a panic, Prater calls the remaining 3 serial killers to his penthouse. Though Gareth and Al are freaked out, Prater reassures them that Mia won't be able to betray any of them. Worried that his remaining victims will flee the city if he doesn't act soon, Dexter follows Gareth, the infamous Gemini killer, after the meeting, and he manages to kill him as well. Receiving a call sometime later, Dexter is invited by Prater to take a trip with the rest of the gang. On the drive over, he hears on the news that Mia was found hanging in her cell and surmises that it was Prater's doing. Going over to a specified helipad, Dexter sits down in a helicopter with Al and Prater when a car pulls up and out walks Gareth. Seeing the man, Dexter realizes that the Gemini killer, just like his namesake, was actually a pair of twins. Episode 7. Course Correction. At a castle that Prater has rented for them, Dexter picks a moment where the other Gareth is some distance away from the group, and he slowly starts to agitate the twin before revealing that he murdered his brother.
Did you feel a sting in your chest last night? Around 8:20?
Why?
Because that's when I stabbed your brother in the chest.
Furious, Gareth too attacks Dexter, allowing him to kill the second twin in front of the others while also claiming self-defense. When the others ask why Gareth attacked him in the first place, Dexter makes up a story about the Gemini, stating that he would prove himself to be the ultimate killer by murdering them all. Though Al and Prater appear to buy Dexter's story, Prater's bodyguard, Charlie, appears more suspicious. When Dexter eventually gets back home, he is surprised to find Batista hanging out with Blessing, who has become his friend, neighbor, and the person he's renting his place from. Pretending to be cordial, Dexter offers him a ride back to his place, but once they get into the car, the mood grows tense as Dexter tells his old friend to stay away from him and Harrison.
I'm only gonna say this once. Stay away from me. From my house. My family. And especially my son.
Batista simply replies that he wants justice for people like Maria LaGuerta, his ex-wife, and Deborah Morgan, Dexter's sister, and states that he won't back off so easily. Episode 8. The Kill Room, Where It Happens. Unfortunately for Dexter, Al is appropriately panicked by the speed that Prater's group has been shrinking, and he skips town. And with no way to track him, Dexter is forced to let him go. Having gotten the go-ahead from Prater, Charlie investigates Dexter, and he learns of his relationship with Harrison. And while Dexter and Harrison share a meal at a restaurant, they are interrupted by Prater, who casually greets him and states that he didn't know Schmidt, Dexter's cover, even had a son. Episode 9. Touched by an Angel. Seeing Prater there infuriates Dexter, and he asks to speak with him alone. Outside, the pair exchange veiled threats, and Prater leaves after telling Dexter not to keep any more secrets. Wanting to get the upper hand, Dexter finds out where Charlie lives and discovers she has a sick mother receiving expensive treatments thanks to Prater. Ambushing her, Dexter warns Charlie to stay out of his way, threatening her mother's life. Calling up Prater afterwards, Dexter arranges a meeting, fully prepared to finish the billionaire. Prater agrees, but when Dexter shows up at his penthouse, he is surprised to see Batista strapped to a table. In his quest to put Dexter to justice, Batista had decided to reach out to Prater after seeing the two together, unaware of Prater's darker persona, and had revealed that Dexter is actually the real Bay Harbor butcher.
No, it's Dexter Morgan. I worked with him for over 20 years in Miami Metro Homicide.
Awed by Dexter's true identity, Prater offers to become his benefactor, bringing in serial killers for Dexter to murder. Offering him a knife, he asks him to kill Batista as a show of loyalty. Though Dexter cuts Batista's bonds instead, the cop attacks Dexter, unable to work together with the man who'd so deeply betrayed his trust. In the chaos, Prater shoots Batista in the back and locks Dexter inside his vault, protected by a thick steel door. Losing enormous amounts of blood, Batista uses his last words to let Dexter know that he will never be forgiven.
It's your fault. Now I'm dying. Because of you. Just like they did.
And Dexter can only scream with pain and rage as he watches his oldest friend die before him. Episode 10. And Justice for All. Using Batista's phone, Dexter calls Harrison for help, and making his way up to the penthouse disguised as a waiter, Harrison manages to open up the vault thanks to a lock combination that Dexter had found within a file cabinet in the vault. Sending Harrison away first, Dexter stays behind to clean up any evidence connecting him to Batista's body, and he also grabs a bunch of files that Prater was keeping on other active serial killers. As he makes his way out of the building, he receives a call from Harrison, and picking it up, he is surprised to find Prater on the other side instead. Going back up, Dexter finds Prater pointing a gun at Harrison, and signaling to his son, Dexter has him jab Prater with a sedative-laden syringe that he'd left Harrison for protection. Sending his son away, Dexter finally gives Prater a chance to experience being on the receiving end of a serial killer's attention, as he straps him to his kill table and stabs him through the heart. Leaving enough evidence for the cops to connect Prater to Batista's murder, Dexter chops Prater's body into his signature 9 pieces and disposes the body in the New York Bay. With his son safe and now an active part of his life, Dexter looks at the serial killer files that he took from Prater's vault, and he relishes in the knowledge that he has a lot to look forward to for the foreseeable future. And that's going to wrap up Dexter Resurrection Season 1. So, what'd you guys all think of the latest installment in Dexter's long-running tale? While this season didn't exactly replicate the highs of the early Dexter seasons, I definitely liked it more than Original Sin and some of the later seasons of the original show. Be sure to sound off in the comments and let us know what you thought. As always, thank you for watching our recap and for sticking around until the end. If you like this video, consider sharing it with a friend or just dropping us a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new one. If you want to support us further, you can do so via YouTube memberships, Patreon, or Buy Me a Coffee. That's it for this recap, but we'll be back soon with another video on your favorite entertainment. But till then, BingeBot is logging off.